Remember when Jimmy was on our team, Fitz was making fun of him every day.
I was too. And then now it's like, oh, it's not so bad, you know?
Now being on this side of it where I was a Jimmy fan, everyone was like, oh, how they could have him. Me as a fan and kind of seeing what Jimmy went through, I was like, dude, that was the best quarterback available to you guys at that time. If you keep Jimmy G upright, he's going to do some things for you guys. But when he panics, his panic button and his awareness level goes out the door. Because the Raider, I seen all his videos. Yeah. I made it a deal I said, dude, when I see this motherfucker, I'm going to slap the shit out of him. Because he was making fun of us.
Whether you're a Niner fan and a Cowboy fan, those two
get the worst.
What's the difference between a Niner fan and a baby?
What?
The baby will stop whining after a while.
Okay. What's the difference between a Raider fan and a Lotto?
What?
You're always going to lose. I just made that one up.
Y'all know what it is, Raiders, bitch.
Just win, baby. Let's go. What is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Simone Raider, with my Oos.
Mr. Fitz, y'all know what it is, Raiders, bitch.
Welcome to the Oos Nation Podcast. This is episode 10, and we got a very special guest with us today. Our guest is the host of the Western Conference Podcast. He's been on tour with many great headlines, from J-Book to Common Kings, and is a diehard fan of the Ops. The team that the team that we play this week in the San Francisco 49ers, my Oos. Big Body Cisco. How you
I was
doing,
looking
man?
behind me like, who are you talking about? I know that ain't me. I was like, okay.
No, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a long time coming, but we definitely had to have you on, especially for the first week of preseason. Yeah. We got the 49ers this weekend, and I know for you guys, it's whatever. For us, it's probably a big game for us. we gotta get them back for New Year's Day. You know. Speaking of New Year's Day, real quick, did you actually go to the game?
Yes, I try to go to a lot of the games especially the ones that have meaning with it, but. You know, it's heartbreaking when you're there in person because it's like, okay, now I might have to beat somebody up.
He said, I got to beat somebody up.
But, yeah, man, I try to go to all the games. And, you know, even preseason, too. That's why I was telling Fitz, I was like, hey, we might have to do this Raider-Niner,
we're down with
preseason. But, you know, everyone talks about preseason. But for us, it's still, I don't care if the fourth string don't beat the fourth string. Yeah. They better beat them.
Still the Battle of Mandalay Bay. But, yeah, I know that game was pretty big. And I didn't go, but he got to go, and man.
Yeah, I actually ran into
over there.
Oh, okay.
Into each other, and we were fortunate to get on the sidelines as well to kind of like be behind there. But it's just the vibe in there was you got so many people in Las Vegas that are from the Bay Area and Raider fans and Niner fans. So it was a dope event because just thank God we came out on top because when they started getting Devontae Adams scoring, I'm like, hold on, this ain't supposed to happen right now. So
we almost did come.
We almost did
because that was like the Super Bowl for y'all at that time. It was like you guys beat the Niners, you guys had bragging rights, so it was definitely good.
How great it would have been for Jared Stidham to do that.
Second string.
The first game that Derek Carr sat down for.
Oh man, I wouldn't have heard the end of it. Trust me. Especially from Feige, especially from Fitz, and from you too. So that's why I was like, as long as we have that, we got bragging rights into next year.
Yeah, to the next 4 years until we play again. But getting back, I want to talk about how you started and everything. You know, of course, I said like you're a big influence upon the.
I've been following you for years since I was young. So.
I mean, it all goes back to like our upbringing. Especially being Polynesians. I've always kind of seen this, not the stereotypes where I didn't want to be the football player or the security guard at the point.
I was just talking about that.
And I was like, I kind of wanted to be something more in the industry. And I loved music.
Yeah.
I was raised on, music by my mom and dad, driving from San Francisco to L.A. like almost every other week. So that little 8-hour, 10-hour trip was like our, introduction to music.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of music, like old school R&B. And then we got into the hip hop, we started going to school. Yeah. And I was like, okay, what entertainment realm could we get into where it's not the norm? Where it's not, what we're normally supposed to be doing, working in factories and kind of doing these. Like I said, no disrespect to those jobs. But all the factory workers like, motherfucker. Damn, I just got off of work. But it was something that I kind of was like, I had a strong personality.
Yeah.
And this is before the social media days. This is before, content, influencers and all that. And I was like, there's some way I got to kind of get this personality out there where I love music and how can I get into the entertainment game? So a lot of my friends were DJs at the local radio stations, and I would go to their events where they had like, club events and concerts, and just where could I fit in?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't want to watch the DJ booth. I don't want to do this. And I seen this, my boy B-Cat, he was on the mic next to one of the DJs, just kind of like going along with the DJ, kind of hyping up the crowd.
Yeah.
And was getting, everyone put your hands up. And they put their hands up. It was like Simon Says. And I was like, hold on. All you got to say, my girls scream. And they all, hold up. I think that's what I want to do.
Oh, nice.
And I kind of like went there, and the clubs from there, whether the DJs liked it or not, I went there and grabbed, hey, where's the mic? You know what I mean? It was like, oh, it's right there. You know, every DJ and every promoter, they hate the guy on the mic, right? So I wanted to be an experience where I knew the music, I knew the breaks, and I knew how to say what I was going to say to the crowd. So I kind of started doing that with local DJs in San Francisco. And then, like, the big DJs started coming, like DJ Quick and all these other DJs. So I was like, hey, where's the mic? And DJ Quick was like, where's security? Who's this dude?
I am the security.
But I walked up and, you know, took the mic from those guys and kind of made a name for myself. We're like, hey, Cisco can get a party cracking.
Yeah.
So, you know, a concert promoter was like, hey, can you do that at a concert? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, come to, we're doing J Boog. This is when J Boog wasn't really known.
Yeah, he was just coming
I did a J Boog show and it kind of brought him out, and that energy was there. And I was hooked. I'm addicted to the adrenaline going on stage. And ever since then, it's kind of like made its path where, you know, I made a living talking shit. Yeah. And that's where I started, where I was talking shit in the clubs. And, you know, I'm talking about who's the baby mama, put your hand up. I'm talking big shit. But then now kind of, you know, we go into our sports culture where, you know, I was a diehard Niner fan from birth. Yeah. You know, I was raised in San Francisco, and, you know, my mom and dad, they were Niner fans, and all the family was. And so we was raised to kind of have the Raiders as the ops. Yeah. You know what I mean? Basically. So, but it was to a point where it was like Bloods and Crips. Like, it was Niners and Raiders where
it really was.
Like, oh, it's the Bay Area, you can have both. Like, nah, fuck that. You know,
you're one or the other.
Exactly. It's either them or us. So growing up, I kind of wanted to say, okay, I got this entertainment thing. How can I intertwine this sports thing? Because at the time I was playing football, and, you know, a lot of my brothers were playing football in college and in the league. So I was like, how can I get all this entertainment and things in one? Before social media, mind you, we didn't have like the references that we have now where people are on there. And I just said, you know what? I'm a Niner fan. Let's ride that out. Yeah. So wrote it out to like where, you know, when I was a Raider fan or a Dallas Cowboy fan, we was always talking shit. But it had to be clever. You had to be quick-witted. Yeah. So that's why I was like, now that we have podcasts nowadays, it helps us now that the way we were raised, we're quick on the mic. You know what I mean? So and then when I started doing shows, I was always a Niner fan, but I was always doing concerts. And the concerts were getting bigger and bigger, like this demographic where J Boog, Fiji, Common Kings were coming out. And there was really no one on the mic kind of like doing what I was doing. So I kind of made a name for myself. I was like, hey, telling all the promoters, I know I'm not Boog or I'm not one of these artists, but I can do something that's an element that you guys probably don't have. Yeah. They wasn't paying me for it, which I was like, all right, okay, I'll do it for free a couple of times. But started doing it and started getting the recognition where other promoters like, hey, how much do you charge? And I was like, oh, yeah, let me get you with my manager. You know what I mean?
I heard the story.
Yeah, I've seen it on the podcast.
And for those who don't have a manager, you could be your own manager, where I just put, it was Big Body's manager at Yahoo. Yeah. And, you know, I was my own, you know, human resource department. I was my own marketing department.
All in one.
And it was all in one, where I just kind of like built my name. And until I actually really had a manager. And even then, we didn't know what it consisted of. And then I had hooked up with Westafa, my manager, Brandon, at the time. We said, hey, since we're doing all the rugby sevens out here, we were doing rugby sevens parties, and, you know, we had all this. So he's like, let's get you, Westafa, from L.A., and you're from the Bay, and kind of form this thing called Western Conference. You know, it kind of made sense because we're in California, so it was dope. We actually did it, and we started to make a living. And the brand was, you know, Big Body Cisco and Westafa, Western Conference, and we just ran that thing all over the world, New Zealand, Australia, and people were just saying, hey, Western Conference, and they knew who we were. And we weren't even artists. We were artists in what we did, but no one really knew what we did.
You were like the first of your kind,
yes.
though. Basically.
So all the festivals, they were like, hey, we need Cisco and Westafa to do it. Oh, they have a name now. It's called Western Conference. Yeah. Like, okay. So now we started to get the billing, and, you know, to this day, we're blessed to keep doing what we're doing. You know, we do festivals in Vegas. We're going to do a festival in New Zealand. So we're definitely blessed to do that. And it's all intertwines where the Western Conference podcast came out. Yeah. And me and Westafa was like, dude, we have all these friends in the industry. I'm connected with all these athletes and actors and entrepreneurs. I said, let's start a podcast. So we started a podcast going about almost a year, and we're almost on our 43rd episode with Sean Merriman that dropped yesterday. And then now we're just in this space. Yeah. And then I see you Usos doing your thing, and I was like, come on, man. It's all about cross-promoting because, you know, even though Fitz, I seen he's the Raider. I seen all his videos. Yeah. Because I made it a deal. I said, dude, when I see this motherfucker, I'm going to slap the shit out of him. Because he was making fun of us.
Whether you're a Niner fan and a Cowboy fan, those two
get the worst.
They don't hate
Bronco fans, Chargers fans, everybody was getting it. And it's crazy, when I moved out here to Las Vegas, I ran into him at Walmart. Okay. Yeah. And he was like, what's up, Uso? And then I looked, and I was like, wait, you're the dude from... I was like, hey, motherfucker, I was supposed to slap you. What's up, Uso? Yeah. And then we kind of got connected, and it was dope, you know, because he was doing my thing, he was doing his thing, and he just kind of all connected, so it was dope.
Man, that's dope. That's hella dope. It's crazy. I mean, you ran through a lot of the questions I had.
Oh, my bad.
No, but that's great, though. One thing that I didn't know, I think I heard it one time, but I know you rep the Bay Area big, but... I didn't know you grew up in Long Beach, right?
Yeah, so Long Beach, see, this is everybody's.
Because I'm from Long Beach.
Yes.
I born and raised.
So grew up in Long Beach by Silverado Park,
on the west
Santa
side.
Fe Avenue.
On the west side. I went to Cabrillo, so I know.
I went to. I was supposed to go to John Muir, but I went to elementary school that was behind our apartment complex. I forgot what it was called.
Stevens?
Stevens was the junior high.
Okay.
But it was the one right behind. But we grew up there, and my grandma lived in Long Beach. All my family was in Long Beach, and my mom and dad was there. And I always tell the story where all my cousins were in the S. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were heavy in the gang life, especially in Long Beach on the west side. And my dad and mom kind of seen that and it was like, well, they're not dealing with it yet. And I remember going into junior high school. That's when it started to get. It was heavy in Long Beach. And my mom and dad kind of made an executive decision, kind of saying, "Hey, we're gonna move up to the Bay," because my dad, they just wanted to get us out of that gang life.
Yeah.
It was crazy back then.
Yeah, it was crazy where we'd walk to school. Hey, we're gonna jump you in. And we came. Hey, Dad, we're about to get jumped into this gang. And he was like,
Hey, I ain't not gonna lie. I thought it was cool. I wanted to get jumped in one day.
So I'm thinking it was the thing to do because all my cousins were in
Exactly.
it, and then you grow up watching your cousins, and that was the thing. That was like the gang life. And when my dad was like, "Nope, pack it up, we're moving to the Bay Area."
Nice.
And we moved to the Bay Area. And mind you, when I was in Long Beach, we were, Laker fans, Dodger fans, and that's what we were growing up on. But my mom and dad were always Niner fans because my mom was from the Bay. So we went up to the Bay Area, and that's where I kind of I say I grew up in the Bay because you don't start your growing up until you get high school.
Yeah.
So when my high school days were in the Bay Area.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like elementary and stuff when I was down in Long Beach, I don't really count it because we were still kind of crawling before we walked.
Yeah.
But we were heavy in that but I still go to Long Beach to this day, and my family still lives out there off
That's
Santa Fe
crazy.
and still by Silverado Park, and we do a lot of functions out there. But that's just they get mad at me for always pushing, the Giants, all the so. And when I went full Bay Area. I was at that high school stage where, okay, our team's the Giants. And I tell the story to this day. The reason why I'm not a Laker fan no more is because Silverado Park.
Yeah, I remember.
And so shout out everybody that are Laker fans, but they're still Laker fans to this day. They kept saying, "Hey, you grew up in Long Beach." Because remember, that was during the Showtime days. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There at Silverado Park, they had it was one of the basketball camps that James Worthy was doing. All was over there, and all the kids got their autographs, and I was up, poly kid with my ball. James Worthy signed everybody's ball. I came up to the back. He patted me on the head. He was like, "All right, not right now." I said, "You know what? Fuck James Worthy." I said, "Fuck James Worthy." I went home, tore down all my Showtime stuff at the room,
Never again.
tore that down. And then my dad was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." I didn't want to tell them. So my brother was shaking his head at me. He was like, "You should have just asked him nicer." I was like, "Shut up."
I don't like them.
But since this day, I try to go to wherever James Worthy signing autographs and say, hey, I'm that kid you didn't sign that autograph for. People in the industry right now never always know that those interactions can last a lifetime. Which
Oh, definitely, especially if you're a kid too.
Oh man,
and that'll do it though.
And that's why to this day, even when somebody wants to even ask you for a picture, somebody want to ask you for a picture, why not take that picture?
Exactly.
That interaction could be everything for that kid. So that's what's dope
sure.
about that.
And it's crazy. The reason why I bring it up because I grew up in Long Beach as well.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that story. I never grew up a Laker fan. My dad's a diehard Laker fan.
Yeah.
Loves the Lakers, but I grew up a Rockets fan. So it's hella
wow.
odd.
Yeah.
Only because of T-Mac. That's the
Yeah.
only reason why I became a Rocket fan. So I would go back and
So
forth.
you had a choice.
I had a choice. I was one of those guys that went against the grain.
Yeah, because a lot of poly kids, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You see the whole household.
My kids. That's my kids.
I try to do it with my kids now, and thank God they like the same thing I like.
Yeah.
But you get that one son that be like, "Oh no, I think I like the Chiefs." I'm like, "What?"
Oh, hell no.
After I whooped his ass, he got back to the Niners shit.
No, it'd be like that. Yeah, a lot of people will tell me too. Because I just had my daughter New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve, the day before the Niners game, and I was like, man, she's gonna be a Raider fan growing up. And they're like, no, you can't force her to be. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna force her, but she's gonna be around everything. She's gonna be at the tailgate. She's gonna be at the seeing all of it. So she's gonna be a Raider fan.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, but
our kids watch who we root for, and it's always the rebellious ones. They be like, "I'm not gonna like what Dad likes." All right, okay. Ain't nothing but 2 slaps will fix that real quick.
you're not gonna
Don't call CPS on me on the kids. They grown now. So.
Back in the days, CPS was never in touch.
If we knew about CPS, my parents would be in prison right now. But that's besides the point.
Probably staring at us with the bell. Call him.
Like, go ahead.
I'll whoop
I
you.
was at
CPS.
9-1, and I couldn't get to that third number. But yeah, it was dope growing up.
No, for sure. So you said you became a Niner fan from birth, obviously.
Yeah.
Through your times, I see you've been through a lot of games, a lot of experiences. What's the craziest or best memory you had going to a game?
I've been fortunate because when we were younger, we couldn't really afford to get into the games.
Yeah.
So and if we did go to the games, my dad got lucky from either a coworker or an uncle that was able to take us to where we're sitting nosebleeds and feeding the pigeons.
Yeah.
So where I was fortunate where I started to get into space. I wanted to make it a fact that if I'm gonna be a fan, I want to go to the games and try to get to the closest I can. Right? We always want to be the closest. So lately, I've been, with what I've been doing and been fortunate by, I've been able to be on the sidelines on the Niner games and even at the Raider games. So when I'm on the sidelines, I'm kind of like, I shouldn't be here because maybe I'm not supposed to be here, but I kind of push the envelope of how far I can take it as being a fan. And one instance comes always up. It's against Jacksonville Jaguars, and a crazy moment where I was little adult beverages were flowing that day, and I was on the sideline, and that's when Jacksonville Jaguars was the #1 defense in the league.
Oh yeah.
And they had the D line and Jalen Ramsey, and then we was whooping them. The Niners were giving it to them that day, and Jalen Ramsey walked it where we're so close. If I say something, Jalen Ramsey's gonna hear me. Yeah. So of course I was like, "This is the #1 D." I was going off. Hey, Jalen, and then the D tackle got up and they started fighting, and I started like false. I was egging them on even more, and they were just looking at me like, "Hey, who is this dude?" So everyone looked at me where I was like, "Damn, I'm really." In this interaction with Jalen Ramsey, a D lineman, and I'm a Niner fan.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because Jesse Sapolu, who kind of walks the sideline, I seen him, and I'm like, when you see elders, you kind of like, straight up. So I looked, I was like, oh. So I kind of shut up, but it was too late. Jalen Ramsey and I was already fighting. So it's always a dope thing to kind of interact with the players. And then when you know the players, I knew Domata Peko, and when I was on the sideline, for them to come over and say, "Hey, what's up, Oos?"
Yeah.
And then everyone's looking at you like, who the hell is this dude? You know what I mean? That didn't know who you were. I just had a relationship with a lot of the players that were on the field, and they would always come check up on me. "Hey, what's up? Hey, like what you're doing." And people would say, "Hey, we don't know who you are, but can we take a picture?" So all those interactions, they act like I'm a star on the sideline.
Play for the team?
Yeah. So I get a lot of ex-players too. Like, "Hey, what year were you?" I was like, "Oh no, I was over there watching the games."
I was a Sapolu back
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
That's one reason why I moved out here too, was just to network and whatnot. And I know last year was the first time we got to go and experience a lot of the same things that you did, going to the championship club. And it felt like we were supposed to be there too. They remember we were just chilling over there
on our P's and Q's and shit.
Yeah,
one shot.
We're just eating our food and just watching the game. Like, I mean, the view is not the best out there, but it's good to just,
But now I don't care. Like, at first, when it was free food, I would grab like one, drumstick. And
hell no.
Now when I go to the game,
I was in the mix,
I'm getting my shirt like this. I'm throwing it in my shirt.
It's like,
I'm gonna use that free food, that free, and it's free alcohol. So.
Oh yeah, and we do that at the tailgates.
Yeah.
we like once people would say, "Hey, you want it?" Like, nah. Sure. Like, we'll take
I'll take some of that. I'll take some of that.
This is dope. You got to take advantage of those opportunities where, sometimes I'll be able to take my kids and on the sideline, they're just kind of looking around like, but it's kind of a gift and a curse because now they don't want to sit in the cheap seats.
Yeah.
Now they don't want to sit. Let's go down to the sideline. And it's great. And us as fans, we don't want to be in the cheap seats after having that kind of whole experience. So when my brothers or my cousins ask me, "Hey, you want to go to the game? Where's the seats at?" I was, "Oh, it's over here in 40. It's not on the sideline." Now I go out and watch it on TV. So I'm spoiled now. I'm spoiled.
No, we feel the exact same way because I think last year, like the year prior, I think the year we beat the Chargers to go in the playoffs, we actually were like down there row 1, black. Only because shout out to the family down there that actually knew us.
Lucky in them.
Yeah, shout out to Lucky and they let us come down. We were like row 7.
Yeah.
So they let us come down there right by the field,
front row.
And it was a crazy experience. And then the next year we started going down to the clubs and stuff like that. But then one game, it was the last game of the Chiefs game. And I think the USO got us some tickets, and we were like the 300s, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, man, it's far up here.
No, it's crazy because it's crazy you said that. So I had a cousin who played for the Chargers, Brandon Manumaliuna. He played tight end. And when he got drafted by the Rams at the time, I was like, "Hey, bro, I'm going to go to every one of your games." Because he went to Arizona. And we met Uncle Frank, rest in peace, Uncle Frank. But all the games I would go to, he was like, "Hey, just kind of like be on your P's and Q's." And so I'm a diehard Niner fan, right? So when they played the Niners, when the Rams played the Niners, I would be with his sister and mom, and I'd be in the Rams family section, full Niner gear. And mom was like, "Hey, what are you supposed to wear Rams stuff in here?" I was like, "Nah." And so by the time I followed Brandon to the Chargers, and that's when he was playing with Merriman and Antonio Gates, and they had a good squad over there.
Okay.
But I said, "Look," and it haunts me to this day. My cousin was like, "Dude, you're gonna sit in these seats that it have to be family. Just wear a Charger." I was like, "Dude, normally the rule is you don't ever wear a Charger or opposing team." I said, "All right, cool. I'll wear a beanie. You know what I mean? Give me a Charger beanie or whatever." This picture has been around the internet every time I talk about mine. And I told my cousin, I said, "Hey, don't ever support your family." Because they'll come back to bite you. Because my cousin always puts it, "I remember this? I was like, we was in the damn stands rooting for you." So, but it's crazy because when you have that family connection, you kind of got to stick with the script, regardless what team they play for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he stuck out because there's probably like 11 other Chargers
Oh,
fans.
yeah. Like a turd in the punch bowl. That's how much I stood out. I stuck out.
1, 2. Oh, look at that big guy right there. But yeah, speaking of crazy experiences and whatnot, like you've been to a lot of Niner tailgates, right?
Yeah.
And I know that they had an exclusive tailgate out here in Vegas.
Yeah.
I think you went to the tailgate, right?
Yeah.
You got the,
This just went to talk shit. That's all he went to do. He gathered
I
up the
don't
troops.
see the video when I went in there. It was like the first official game marker. The dude got hella mad because he knew I was.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, it's just a joke.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Relax.
And if you got to take it for that, especially with these followers, like, when we're younger, we kind of take it serious.
Yeah.
But the older you get now and them kind of like more, that our brands are out there, it's kind of like, dude, you kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But it was those times where I remember vividly, me and all my brothers, Candlestick Park, Raiders versus Niners, we were tipping over porta potties with Raider fans in them.
Man, how were those experiences? Oh, with Raider fans?
I
Bro,
would have been pissed.
this is
Oh, hell no. I would
it
have
just goes to show you how big the rivalry was. Me and all my brothers would tailgate, and then we would get, adult beverages was flowing. And whenever we seen the Raider fans go in a porta potty that we were by, we knocked it over. Shit everywhere.
Oh.
And they walked up, we're like, hey, these Raider fans came and did that. So we had a good time. What do I mean? Good time for us. But but it was like, we seen Raider couples kind of walking around, and the girlfriend had a Niner jersey and the guy had a Raider thing, and we were drunk saying, cheat on him. Cheat. So the rivalry will always be strong.
deep,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Oh no,
It runs
definitely.
strong.
I mean, I've been a fan for a long time, and
Yeah.
I've never been to an Oakland game.
Yeah.
But I've always heard stories about.
Bro,
that,
I've
like,
been to an Oakland game.
I went to
and-
one. I was
Yes.
blessed to go to one.
And that's why when I go to Allegiant and I've been to Oakland and people ask me all the time, the nostalgia at Oakland was like, that's legendary.
Yeah.
Like I could say to this day as a Niner fan, the Oakland tailgates over there was like second to none.
Yeah.
And I've been to a lot of Niner
Yeah.
tailgates at Candlestick where I was like, okay, food's a little better. Okay, the girls are kind of better. You know what I mean? I said, okay, we got to switch this up where it was like, okay, that was the battle. Okay, you guys won the tailgate battle, but we're going to try to win the game. You know what I mean?
And most of the time, you guys. Because most of us say, "Hey, meet us outside. We'll win." Outside.
Exactly. Well, we went outside. We don't went on the field. We went outside. We won something.
Speaking of training camp and I mean tailgates and all that, you actually went to training camp recently. I know we went to.
I seen that.
We went to Raiders training camp out here twice. It wasn't too hot, but we got to meet a lot of the players. Like you said, it was crazy. That was actually the first experience that we met a lot of these players, and they actually knew. Some of them knew us, and then
that's
some of them
dope.
we had on the podcast too.
Yeah.
It was a dope experience. That's why we wanted to start the podcast in the first place. But I know you going to training camp. You took was that your kids?
Yeah, I took my sons. I took my two youngest sons with me, and we were guests of Talanoa and Drake Jackson, the DN from USC, and because shout out Bree, and they always take care of us when we're over there.
I know.
But when we go to these training camps, I'm going as a fan, and really, my kids are going to kind of just meet the players.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to go see how the season's going to look.
Yeah.
So the first thing I went was to Brock Purdy. I said, okay, let's see how this elbow it looks. And the first one was watching, Trey Lance is to take nothing away from the kid Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I think he's a good kid. I think he got too much too soon, personally. And I think we found a diamond in the rough with Purdy. I mean, one season's not going to tell the story.
Yeah,
but
we'll
I think
see. We'll see.
We'll
this
see,
year.
especially now with the injury. So I went to that training camp day and I was watching Purdy, and he looked good, bro.
Yeah.
He was zipping it in there, and Trey threw a pick, and I was like, okay, that's like that was his training camp, just not do it. But from right now, from what I've seen, I think if Purdy can stay healthy, he'll be our starter, and I think Trey will be the backup, and Sam Darnold will hopefully be still on. Sam Darnold's still throwing darts out there.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he just kind of proved himself where the balls that him and Trey were going, it's going to be a tough battle for the backup quarterback position.
Yeah.
But I think they have too much vested in Trey to kind of just say, oh, no, we'll
I
just
think
have
that-
Sam.
yeah.
We gave him too much for this kid, so he kind of has to be the backup.
Yeah, but 'cause I think Sam Darnold would be okay over
Yeah.
there. I mean, he's been on some teams that really haven't had too much around him. The Niners, you put in a quarterback that could just be solid enough.
Yeah.
They don't have to be great, but I think he could hold it up over there. But
Yeah, and
I
he has
agree
that
with you.
relationship with McCaffrey when they were at the Carolina. and-
Yeah.
Right, I forgot
And it's
about
just kind
that.
of like
yeah.
that's kind of like the whole thing where McCaffrey was like, "Hey, Darnold ain't doing nothing. Bring him." So I think the defensive unit looks nice. The offensive unit, I think the O-line didn't sell me too much, and you kind of go there and just kind of watch, and it's all practice. But I think this week with the Niner preseason, they're having joint practices that I think we're gonna go check out
Thursday.
Is it
Thursday.
open for the
Well, we're a little bit over public now, guys, so I think we'll get in there somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, I want to go to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think it starts on Thursday, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and training camp's always a good kind of like for us as fans, and that's how you tell the real fans, right? We can go there. I take my kids to take autographs with George
I want
Kittle
to
and all
get
them.
notes. I
Yeah,
wanna see.
and I'm going
He's
because
like, no.
if I'm gonna talk shit and really defend y'all, I need to know what I'm
Yeah.
working with.
Yeah.
So I kind of just sit there, as a fan, just kind of watch the O line, and us being football, ex-football players when we played in school, we kind of know what's going on.
Yeah.
Those are the DBs and those are the linebackers, and we kind of know. So I tell my kids because my kids are playing, and they're kind of say, "Oh, Dad, what are they doing?" My 8-year-old, he's always like
Nice.
sponge.
Yeah.
What are they doing over there? Oh, that's Trey Lance, that's the quarterbacks. So it's kind of good to take the kids and kind of have them experience it. But like I said, they're spoiled because I didn't have that opportunity when I was
Either.
there.
Never.
But training camp is definitely, for both teams. And I've been watching, you guys go to yours and kind of have that interaction where Jimmy G, we got to talk about it.
I was getting to him, man. Jimmy G, the guy we used to make fun of. Now we're hoping to be our savior.
Yeah.
No, so me and Us are on different sides with Jimmy G. I'm more optimistic. I kind of messed around last year. I actually interviewed some fans. I said,
Yeah.
"Who you want? Tom Brady, Jimmy G?" Everybody said Tom Brady. They said, "Oh, Jimmy G's trash. Always hurt. Yada yada yada. Only good with a good defense." And when we signed him, I was like, "Oh shoot, you know what? I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
for it." I know he really wasn't.
I was fucking.
Fitz was like, "This is some bullshit." That's what
because
Fitz
he-
was like, "Yeah, no, I don't
son
want
of
this
a
guy."
bitch.
Because I remember when Jimmy was on our team, Fitz was making fun of him every day.
I was too. I think every Raider fan was making fun of her, and then now it's like, oh, it's not so bad, you know. But I mean, coming from, oh yeah, go ahead. Deuce.
For me, it's I mean, he's our quarterback. I'm gonna rock with him. But
Yeah.
I don't have faith in him.
Yeah,
My whole thing is I'm gonna hope he does good. But when we did our our season predictions, I mean,
Yeah.
I was optimistic and I was still 8 and 9.
Yeah.
9. But that's with the
So-
healthy Jimmy G. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm worried about him.
well, I feel like as a Jimmy G veterano from
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So
Niners,
as a Niner fan.
now being on this side of it, where I was a Jimmy fan.
Okay.
When we signed Jimmy, I was like, okay, no, he's not going to be the next coming of Tom Brady, but I was a fan.
Yeah.
So I started watching the games. He got us in some good games. The thing with Jimmy is, if he was a Madden character, his awareness rating is really low because he holds onto the ball really long, and when he makes that decision, it's too late.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating watching him where he had all the mechanics. He had nice quick release whenever he
Yeah,
found.
that's what I noticed.
He was saying
And it's
that.
not his decision making is fine, but it's his awareness where he was sitting in that pocket too long.
Ooh.
And I think when we seen the difference between Brock not doing that last year, we're like, that's what Jimmy was missing.
Yeah.
Was like kind of like, oh, see what's going on, get out of there.
Yeah.
Jimmy wasn't getting out of there. He was going backwards and trying to run. I said, run forward. You know what I mean? So it was frustrating to see. But when you guys drafted him, I said, everyone was like, oh, they can have him. Me as a fan and kind of seeing what Jimmy went through, I was like, dude, that was the best quarterback available to you guys at that time.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, Aaron Rodgers kind of did his thing with the Jets, but I'm saying, dude, if you guys, and we talked about it on your Instagram, if you keep Jimmy G upright,
Yeah.
he's going to do some things for you guys.
I
But when he
hope so.
panics, his panic button and his awareness level goes out the door
No,
because
definitely.
he'll sit there and take the sack.
And that kind of reminds me of our last quarterback that we had.
Yeah.
I mean, his awareness wasn't good as well. But the difference between him and Jimmy was, I think Jimmy has a better offensive line here. I think that's
Yeah.
the only thing that we have that's a little bit better than you guys.
And I
is the
felt
offensive
like
line.
Derek Carr was more athletic than Jimmy.
No, he was more
So he got
athletic.
up out of there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, but
Jimmy
the
ain't
thing-
getting up out of there.
But there were so many times we've seen last year, Derek Carr will be in the pocket and he'll step up into
Yeah.
a sack and stuff like
and it's
that.
frustrating.
And it's
That's
like,
exactly what we did with
that's
Jimmy.
That's what's so frustrating with him. But then I didn't know how quick of a release he had
Yeah.
until we watched him at training camp.
Yeah, he was quick with it.
Yeah, but
Now, his release is quick, but his decision making has to be quicker.
Yeah.
yeah, no, and I heard a lot about that because when we went there for training camp, that was before the padded practices.
Yeah.
And we heard that, I mean, from what we've seen, he looked good out there.
Yeah.
Like slinging the rock and whatnot, commanding the offense. But then when they were in pads and stuff, I heard he was throwing a lot of interceptions.
He's a leader. I mean, at the end of the day, he's an athlete, and he's been around organizations, which is fortunate for you guys, is because he came from a winning thing through
Yeah.
the Patriots, backing up Tom Brady. Then you come to the Niners and kind of get that success kind of early,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like we kind of did him wrong by kind of like getting Trey and kind of pushing him out, which I felt.
Yeah.
But I think him going to the Raiders was the best thing for the Raiders, and us as Niner fans, we were like, oh, Jimmy might do some things over there
Yeah.
if you guys keep him upright.
And that's the
That's
thing.
what my wife said. My
Yeah,
wife's
that's-
a diehard Niner fan.
Plus, and I think you guys have a running game. We didn't really have that strong a running game. Like you guys have Jacob
And
that take a lot
until
of pressure
Christian
off.
came along,
Yes.
and it was looking good till he got injured.
Exactly.
But then Brock Purdy stepped in and did his
Yeah.
thing too. But
I think Jimmy will do good for you guys, and I think he's going to prove a lot of Raider fans wrong that are kind of waiting for him to kind of win that. But as soon as he makes that mistake, it's going to be Fitz going to be right on his ass. Right on his ass. He'll be like, see, I told y'all. I told y'all.
This is the motherfucker you want.
Hey, you're not a real Raider fan. Just joking. No, but I think a lot of Raider fans are just more pissed off because they're really attached to the last quarterback that we had, Derek Carr, obviously. So getting Jimmy G, they're like, we hella downgraded.
Yeah.
But for me, like I know a lot of people say that Jimmy G had a good defense, that's why he was good. But then I was like, the Niners from that span after Colin Kaepernick, they weren't doing much.
No, and it wasn't as powerhouse as a.
You still need a quarterback that could go out there and at least run the offense. And what he does better than Derek Carr is he's good in the red zone, at least when he gets to the red zone.
Yeah.
But I was like, you can't really say that. There's a lot of the Jets last year had a really good defense and their quarterbacks were trash. Yeah. But I think Jimmy G coming over here, I think he'll be okay. I'm not expecting him to be Patrick Mahomes by any means.
Speaking of the Jets having a good defense, that's from Robert Saleh coming from the
that is true.
And as you see even in Miami with our offensive coordinator, you kind of see these elements kind of go where we're like, damn, we're losing these pieces. Where we were talking to Sean Merriman about it, where how come he didn't win anything with the Chargers team? And he said that window opportunity closes up quick. And I think our window as the Niners is closing up quick because we're losing pieces. And in this league today, you can't stay with a team for 10 years. Because that salary crap, they're gonna have somebody that's gonna say, we'll give you the money. Yeah. Where it's kind of harder to keep these teams together. Where if you got these core units, you got to have that win now attitude. Because you might not have it 2-3 years down the line. That's where Trey will be good in 4 years. I don't give a damn about 4 years. I give a damn about right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we live in a right now society.
Yeah,
what could you do for me right now?
Yeah.
Well, I could give a damn about 3-4 years from now. Win me the Super Bowl now. Now I can go in those 3-4 years talking shit. Coming up, so
especially as a Niner fan, you guys don't really have that long of periods. Because I actually looked back since 2010. You guys been to the conference championship 6 times,
bro. NFC championships the past 2 times that I've been to.
And
a lot of heartbreak.
I mean, we had heartbreak, but we never got that close. So I mean, you guys had 2 Super Bowl appearances. It's funny because I have a lot of Niner cousins, so we go back and forth all the time. And then there was always talking about you guys had a perfect record in the Super Bowl, and then the Colin Kaepernick Super Bowl,
Kaepernick, and then
and then the Jimmy G one, and everybody. See, and that's another thing Raider fans bring up is like, he was trash in the Super Bowl, but he was in the Super Bowl.
But he was
he was in the Super Bowl. Like
I say, people don't realize in this league how hard it is to get your team to the Super Bowl. Because if you're the head of the team, which Jimmy was for us, it's like he got us here. So I tell people when he left, it's like, don't forget where he got us, because I said the Raiders got a good one with him if they could keep him, doing what he does.
Yeah, true.
But it's like, man, the quarterback is always going to be the catalyst of your team. You're as good as your quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's your backup quarterback, we got lucky that Purdy happened to do what he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it's all going to be on, because when Josh Johnson is a good friend of mine. Good friend of mine is Marshawn Lynch's cousin. We all, kicked it in Oakland at times and went to parties. But when Josh Johnson went in there and they took his head off, I talked to Josh. He was like, dude, I got hit hard where now you got Purdy out, you got Josh out, and we just had nothing after that. So it sucked.
You hit it right on the nail, man. The team is only as good as your quarterback, and Derek Carr has been a controversial topic within the Raider Nation for sure. And I mean, me and him are on the same boat. I'm not gonna lie, I was a Derek Carr like supporter since he started, because I started my YouTube channel when he got drafted all the way up until I think pandemic year.
Yeah,
and then 2021, I started seeing like, dang, I started opening my eyes, and I was like,
I always told people they put too much on Derek Carr.
No,
they didn't put too many pieces around him until that recently, with Devontae Adams, and that's because when you guys were losing, you guys were gaining this capital of like getting all this money, get these draft picks, and kind of do what you do. Josh Jacobs came along, and it's like everyone talks about Niner fans and Raider fans how much we hate each other, but we watch each other's teams close enough, we kind of could talk on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're the biggest Raider fan I know. Like, you're the biggest Niner fan I know, because I was like, what could I hate on that team with?
Yeah.
But then you're watching it, like when Devontae Adams came, shout out to Palo Alto kid, that's a Bay Area kid there. For him to come over there, he kind of changed it. When Carr left, I was like, great. They just took his homeboy out of there, and that was supposed to do.
I think that's why a lot of our expectations were so high last year. We got Devontae Adams. I'm like, oh dang, we finally got a wide receiver for.
No excuses for Derek Carr.
But he had some good weapons here and there, but some years we wouldn't have a good defense, good offensive line. I mean, we had Michael Crabtree for a couple of years. Who, man. He was one of my favorites. I was actually pounding the table for him to come here when he was a free agent, and all the Raiders.
No, after he didn't catch that long ball from Colin in that. I was like, get him out of here.
No, but I was the same fan that was talking shit when Richard Sherman was on his
team.
And I was like,
I never thought Sherman would come to the Niners. We talked so much shit about Sherman, when he was with the Legion of Boom, and when Cam Chancellor did that to Vernon Davis, you feel those hits. You kind of like, I don't hear my guy like that. So but it's dope because that's how deep of fans we are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we go to these games and we feel like they're supposed to do what we want them to
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah.
And when they don't do it, it's like almost it's like our friend, like, hey, why didn't you do it? Or your teammate.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how the fandom kind of takes
Yeah.
over. Like,
And that's why I'm so optimistic this year, because it's always the season where Raider fans don't have any expectations.
well, I mean, you're Raider
What
fans.
we do-
Optimistic is all through the preseason.
Yeah, optimistic. Hey, we can only go up from 6 wins,
Yeah.
hopefully, But like I said, the same thing I thought about Michael Crabtree coming over here. I feel the same way about Jimmy G, and hopefully he proves me right. If not, then I'm just gonna be like, oh shit.
Casinos, they're doing us dirty right now.
Hey, but I say
Over
for
under
Raider fans,
six.
Seven
for
wins.
Raider fans, I said they're doing disrespect for y'all. Well, that might be something that you guys want to put something on just to prove them wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I mean-
bet so much. I've lost so much money in the Raiders.
Because you bet with
Hey,
your heart, Oos.
I know, I do too. Because
last season, I lost
I would
a lot
do
of money.
parlays, and some weeks I would pick the Raiders to win. They'll lose. If I pick them to lose, they win. I'm like, now y'all want to win,
Hey, on them parlays, it's like hard to say. Let me do a 3 or 4 team, and you want to pick the Niners as one. It's like, oh, they're gonna win this one. Then every 3-1, and then the one that you picked would mess it all up.
No, for us.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting out of this team this year? I mean, you guys went to the conference champion last year, lost to the
Yeah.
Eagles. But running it back with Brock Purdy, I believe so. Do you expect them to be as successful?
I
as
think the
last year?
pressure's on. I think when you have a successful season like we did last year, and kind of how it ended the way it ended against the Eagles, is where your expectation levels are high. So you kind of decipher between the two as a fan and as kind of being realistic. You know what I mean? Where I think that we have the tools and we have a good defense, and it's all going to be when you line them up. You know what I mean? When we line up against these other teams where you're dealing with the Eagles again, you're dealing with these teams that are still there, and with the revamped Cowboys team, which I still think they're going to be shit, but but as far as the Niners, I think we have our core still intact, and we added a few pieces like the D-line Hargrove from the Eagles. We put him on the line next to Eric Armstead.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
We already got once we sign Nick Bosa, which I'm hoping we do, and I think they'll get that done. Is that something that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that people give them a lot of shit for what they're doing with the team. I think John Lynch is a football's guy. He comes from a defensive mentality where he knows that a lot of stuff you have a good defense is going to make it easier for your offense. And I think that's where we're at as fans and as a team, where we have a good defense. The kid Talanoa, we were talking about it earlier, where he came out of nowhere. He had a Pro Bowl season last year, and that for us is kind of okay. Now step your game up, because it's tough. And what we're in, once you're successful, you're going to get to the next step. Because as soon as you fall off, us as fans will be the first one to call you on it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Talanoa went to the Pro Bowl last year, so what's next for us, Oos? So especially for a kid like that, in this
think All-Pro?
demographic, he went All-Pro.
Damn.
All-Pro and
First or second?
Second. No, I think he went first. And just to him this is only his second year. So, and it's like kind of putting that pressure on him.
He's a beast.
He's a beast, man, and he's gonna be as good as what the DBs kind of have.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of expectations on him now because he's starting to become a household name,
Yeah.
especially not only with the Niners, but like a lot of people know him now. It's kind of like when Max Crosby kind of broke out for us. He had a 10-sack season his first season. The same. Oh, he came in with Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
I feel like Max should have
Crosby
been a
and
defensive
and
player,
Bosa.
but it's all good.
Those are like two pieces that on our team that I feel like if we were without them, we'd be shit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because I think just you need that pass rush. Like Crosby, he's relentless. When you watch him, it's like, dude, that's a badass white boy right there.
Yeah.
And you say the same thing about Nick Bosa, where you see what he does, and you don't even expect that out of him.
Yeah.
I watched Joey Bosa, and I kind of like, man, that Bosa family was like, them football families, like all the brothers are ballers. Yeah. It's like one of those where he's doing his thing, and it's kind of like, okay, but now you got to pay the man.
Yeah.
So where are we gonna lose the money and gain the money? So I think once they do that, and we'll have that kind of comfortableness about our defense, because we invested in Hargrove and being our D tackle. You got Armstead still doing his thing, and now you have Nick Bosa back. And I'm interested to see what Drake Jackson does. He had to put on some weight, put on some muscle, because he wasn't an every down D lineman.
Yeah.
Now this year he kind of did the work and put in the work, and now I'm interested to see how he does.
One player I'm looking forward to watching this year on our team that I feel like can make that jump that Talanoa did. Maybe not as much like as a first-team All-Pro or as Isaiah Polamau. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Man, dude's a baller over here, and he's been getting a lot of praise in training camp.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if we could have him play like
put
his
on
uncle
some
just a
weight.
little bit,
He put on some weight.
He put on some weight this year.
He
So
look a little more filled in there.
Yeah.
So
and he actually got a couple picks on Jimmy G. He was the first one to get an interception in training camp.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been hearing some good things out of him. But, speaking of, Nick Bosa and his contract situation, we're kind of going through the same thing with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about, the running back market. What do you think about that?
I think, I mean, like I was talking to Sean Merriman about it too, and we're just kind of saying like now they're kind of. He said it changes position almost every year. This year just happens to be the running back, the talk about it. And I think running backs we know as from playing football and being fans of football, that's like an intricate part. That's like second to the quarterback. You know what I mean? And what you guys have with Josh is like you guys want to pay that man because what he's done for you guys, and in what you've done for me lately, society we're living in. But I think the running back don't get. The respect that the O-line, expects. Yeah. But I said they're tripping because this whole thing with Jonathan Taylor and Irsay is like, come on, man. You're talking about these guys that are, taking 30 carries a game for you, and now you kind of just off playing them like it's nothing. Where, like I said, it goes back to where it starts with the quarterback, and I think next down the chain of command is that running back position. And I think they need to be more valued than what they are now because, there's money out there, and we talk about it all the time. Look at these baseball contracts.
Yeah.
Look at this golf contract and soccer player contracts where it's crazy now. Yeah. It's almost they're making hundreds of millions now. Where I'm pretty sure Bosa's going to be the highest paid defensive player in the league after he gets his deal made. But now you kind of say, okay, Josh, what do you want? And that's when I feel they're treating the running backs now like Jonathan Taylor. What do you want? Like they're like the running backs annoying them. It's like no, kiss their ass. We need them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think they're not doing that, and I think that's where they're losing the respect. And that's where the owners are kind of like getting shit from the fans. Like, hey, you need these guys for your team.
Oh, definitely. And it's not like these running backs are like not doing as much. But like Jonathan Taylor was the whole identity of the Colts that one season he broke out.
Come on, man.
Josh Jacobs last year was our whole identity on offense when our quarterback wasn't stepping up. And
that's the thing. When the quarterbacks aren't stepping up, who do they lean on? Exactly. Hand the ball off, right?
Yeah.
So if they can do that and trust their running back, like I don't know how we got McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah,
to this day. To this day.
Even with the injury, probably.
When I first heard it, I was looking at my wife because my wife's a diehard Niners fan. I was like, she was like, "Is McCaffrey good?" I'm like, "Man, fuck y'all."
Is he good?
I was like, "Fuck."
We just got a new running back. Whatever.
When I seen that came across my phone, I thought it was a joke at first. I'm like, "There's no way we could have got McCaffrey." Because I was a fan at Stanford. When he was at Stanford, I was a fan. I was like, dude, if there's any way they can get this kid from Stanford, of course, it doesn't happen that way because we were drafting every D lineman every year. So, but when it happened where he fell into our laps, I'm like, no way. And then he started to perform, and he wasn't getting hurt.
It's like, season.
And I felt like he was home. I felt like, he's a Bay Area kid.
Yeah.
So when he was home back with the Niners, he felt comfortable. And like, when you got family in the stands, we all know as Poly, you want to show out.
Yeah.
And I felt like when he came to the Niners, he wanted to show out to the Panthers and to his family that was in the Bay. So we kind of lucked out with that one for sure.
And then you see what you guys paid for him. It's like, damn, we could have got this dude.
Well, we got McCaffrey
like anybody else.
It was 16 million a year, something like that.
No, but they traded like I think a third round or something like that for him.
In like football language, that was like a carton of Newports and some Gatorade. What we gave for him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm like, dude, we got an ace in the hole, and for him to perform, in that a year or two, he's gonna want to get paid.
Yeah.
So it's just the nature of the business, and I think if fans kind of like do their homework in the business sense of it, they won't get as mad when they had to make those moves and we lose these players.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. Because I was one of those fans that was like pounding the table for Josh Jacobs. They should have gave him a bag. But then when I step back, I talk about it a lot. Looking from the business aspect right now, nobody's paying that much for running back. Even Saquon wasn't getting paid that much.
You got to go do whatever the going rate is for the league.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, who just got paid the most? Oh, okay, here. All right, we'll base it off of Saquon's deal.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks because it's like if it's not a good deal, you kind of get stuck into a 3-4 year contract unless you do that franchise tag.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of these players don't want to do the franchise because what if they get hurt? Then they're shit to everybody.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of harder for them to kind of make that decision. And that's the agent's job to kind of make that happen where it's like, if they get locked into a long-term deal, which is good for them, but we know the shelf life for running backs aren't as much as a quarterback. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, the younger running backs are retiring early nowadays because they're like taking all the hits and, with everything going on with CTE and all that them too. So it's crazy.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question like as far as your podcast, man. I definitely checked out your podcast before I started doing our podcast. And I know you do it at Sticky Paws. That's some of the homies over there too that I met last year. But who's one of your favorite like guests that you've had on?
One of my has been Talanoa too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you that. How did you get connected with him?
So Talanoa, he was coming to our Comic King shows as a fan.
Yeah,
and he was cousins with Noke, who's the production or stage manager for us. He was like, "Hey, my cousin, is Talanoa Funga." At the time, he wasn't really doing much, but he was a kid.
Oh, that's what's up. That's cool.
Yeah, but he was dancing, and I brought him on stage at Cali Roots, and And he was doing his thing, and then he kind of like caught fire. And then I told Noki, when I started the podcast, I said, Noki, let me tell your cousin. He's like, yeah, I hit him up too. You slide in the DMs and just hope something happens, right? So I said, hey, Oos, remember me from such and such if you want to do it. And you kind of like follow it up with the cousin and stuff like that. So that's how I was fortunate to get Talanoa on there. Noki hit him and was like, hey, bro, since you're in town for Pro Bowl, do Cisco's podcast. He was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So I kind of took him out, first time he was able to go out in Vegas. Me and Fitz was talking about it. And I took him to Dre's. Franny and Gino, they took care of him. And, he's still a kid. Yeah. And we talk about these young kids that are playing now where, they look at us as kind of like the OGs. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I took him out for his first time. And now he's going to come play, this week against the Raiders where, it was kind of good to have the relationship. And now he was on my podcast, so I was his guest and Drake Jackson's guest at the training camp. Yeah. So he kind of, you build these relationships and, just having Jesse Sapolu on my podcast, that opens up doors. Because, people watch that, and then when you are at the facility or you are at Levi's or at Legion, they say, hey, those are the guys from the podcast. So you start getting noticed, and Jesse Sapolu, I love him to death because he introduces me to everyone at Levi's. So he goes, hey, so if I'm ever not here, they can always know you're with me. Jesse's like, he's the president. Yeah. So he walks around there, him, he's the alumni, and him walking around there, he holds a lot of weight in the Niners organization, four Super Bowl rings. Oh, hell yeah. Which that's
do whatever you want.
He can do it. He's a four Super Bowl rings, and it sucks because when I see Joe Thomas go into the league, the Hall of Fame, you think, why not Jesse? You know what I mean?
Oh, he's not in it, huh?
He's not in it. He's like in the Polynesian ones, and as a Niner fan, you kind of look out, and we always look out for our Usos and our Tokos because those are like, we're friends of them first. No matter what team they're on. Whether it be Tua Tagovailoa, Ray Maulunga, whatever it was, we were fans of them because they were like us. Yeah. So the thing with Jesse was like, I wanted to push and say, hey, man. So I go on every NFL Hall of Fame blog or site and say, hey, it's time for Jesse to revisit Jesse going in there because,
crazy.
He spent his entire career with the Niners. During the dynasty, had 4 Super Bowl rings, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
That's the same with a couple of Raiders as well. Yeah. I think it's Plunkett Yeah, he's not in the Hall, but he has 2 Super Bowls for us. Yeah, we only have 3. So I mean, it's kind of crazy that they have other quarterbacks that have less. But
it's crazy because us as Polys, we only have 2 in there. Yeah, we only have like Polamalu and Sayao in there, and
Oh damn, is it only that?
Yeah, I think. Oh no, Kevin Mawai. I mean, sorry Hawaiians, don't start getting on my helmet about it. Oh, what about Mawai? But we don't have a big presence, and I think it sucks because Polynesian has their presence now in the league. Oh, yeah. You look at every team, they got a Poly on there.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
So, and I think just to get the recognition and someone that's done what Jesse Sapolu's done in winning 4 Super Bowls with one team, I think deserves some notoriety, not just from the Polynesian Hall of Fame or, the people that we kind of have ties to. The National Football Hall of Fame should take a little note for that.
Yeah, and speaking of Poly players, I want to ask you a question that George asked us on the Gridiron Junkies.
Shout out George and Gridiron.
Shout out George. Because he asked us, I'm going to ask those this. Yeah. Who's the top 5 Poly players in the NFL today?
Man.
On your list.
Today or?
Today.
Okay, today.
Current players.
Okay, good. That made it easy. So I think current players, I think I'll have Tua at 5 because I think Tua hasn't.
Okay. That's me. I had him at 5.
So I have Tua at 5. I have who's the kid? There's a defensive lineman for the Cincinnati Tupou. I think he's another one. The one that smacked Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's doing some things
with one I forgot
with him as well. But I think Mariota was there only because his longevity. But I think he still hasn't had his fair shake. But I think Mariota because I just watched that QB thing on Netflix. Yeah. So I have that like kind of in my head right now.
I was pounding the table for him to be our quarterback. Yeah. Take over for Derek.
I was even saying, hey, if Purdy ain't good, bring him over to the Niners.
Yeah. He looked good. The one game he actually played. Yeah. And but like I said, I think they had a lot invested in Carr that they couldn't really.
Yeah, and it's because that's the position that's like everyone knows that position, right?
Yeah.
It's not like where you get lost in the shuffle as a lineman. You know what I mean? So I think Talanoa Hufanga is definitely on the top 5 right now. Yep. And if he's not at the top, I think
he's my number 1.
Yeah, and I think Talanoa would be my number 1 as well too, because I think what he's doing in the league right now, and I think Mailata, the tackle from
that was my number 2.
Because
experience, mind you, not prior to coming to the NFL.
That would be my 2-1, and I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I think on the spot right there, I think
Panay Sewell.
I have Panay on there.
Panay Sewell, yeah.
Juju?
See, I think Panay would take Tupou's spot, and I think Juju as well, because Juju got a ring now.
Yeah, he got a ring, so he got.
So, but we always keep tabs on everybody like Kendrick Bourne and Devin Asiasi, the tight end at Cincinnati, where you kind of keep tabs on all these Poly players and just hope they do good. We're the first ones to know when they get hurt too, or when they get cut. Oh man, they just got cut. Well, how'd you know? Because you always kind of look at the training camp. How's this Poly kid doing? How's this Tonga kid doing? Panay Sewell, I think he's going to be one of those linemen that kind of go down in history as one of like.
He's a beast. beast, bro.
Oh no,
and he's doing his thing. Like he's so athletic. Where I kind of had some time to spend with his brother out at Oregon when we did a show with Comic Kings, and that family just has that lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And just kind of seeing what he's doing, and I think it's in good hands.
His brother just get drafted.
Yeah.
Too?
So I think his brother's Noah Sewell. And I think, Talanoa is at the top of the food chain because of what he's been able to accomplish and the notoriety he's getting by being on a team that's in the playoffs.
Yeah, okay. And it's funny because when we told George our list, and we both had Juju in there, and he's like, wait, real quick. You guys said Juju, like Juju Smith? I said, yeah, Juju Smith. He has someone like,
yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
People don't know that.
Yeah, a lot
Even
of people
don't
don't
much out. Like every time he became a free agent, I was like, hey, bring Juju over here, man. Gotta do it for the Usos.
Yeah.
Like, is he Samoan or something? He's Samoan. It's crazy. It's like
Kendrick Bourne. People didn't know he was
Kendrick
until
Lewis Murphy.
Yeah, Lewis Murphy, and you got Malcolm Floyd when he was with the Chargers. A lot of people
What's
didn't
that
know.
player from the Colts?
Huh? Oh,
Buckner.
DeForest?
Yeah, Buckner. Yeah.
There
What was
Yeah.
he? He's Samoan?
He's half Samoan, half Maori. Yeah,
Okay,
half black.
yeah.
So, but it's just kind of like I said, we keep tabs on all of them and just where they at.
Yeah.
And when they make the Pro Bowl, like Talanoa, that makes everyone say, "Oh, that's the number one on my list."
Yeah.
Because he's been at the top, and he's doing his thing right now on a team that's kind of like vying for a Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, and I think it's only going to get bigger. And it's great to see that we got Pauly's kind of shifting away from being defensive linemen and offensive linemen.
Yes.
Like we get to see a lot of the other like skill positions.
And that's why the
Especially
pressure's on
quarterbacks.
Tua. Yeah.
Yeah, the quarterbacks too.
With Tua and Marcus and what they're doing is like the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
When you kind of like you're the guy. We talk that's the head of the football team where Tua, I think, with those concussions, he had some bad breaks, but I think he's on a, revenge mission.
Yeah.
Where he wants to prove everybody wrong too. And come on, look at his team. He has the pieces.
Oh,
Waddle.
yeah.
Everybody is shitting on him last year.
Oh,
like,
my God.
But then he went out there and look, not bad. Like I think outside of the concussions, I think he could be something.
And he has a good football IQ.
Oh,
See, when he's at Alabama, you kind of see, what they're doing and what his whole thought process was. And when he came to Miami, kind of running with the old Niner offensive coordinator, what they're doing over there, where they're implementing Raheem Mostert, and he was one of those dynamic backs out of the Niners backfield. Where I think Tua is going to get his shine, and I think it's coming for him. But like I said, we go back to the window. How long is that window going to stay open for a lot of these players that are in those positions?
No, for sure. Because I know Marcus kind of paved the way for them.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a Masoli back in the days.
Yeah, Jeremiah Masoli.
That he had to steal some laptops, but but then you had like I said, Marcus, and then Tua came along. I know his little brother's playing quarterback.
Yeah,
and then Nico. We'll see where he
goes.
You still got DJ. So there's a lot of Pauly.
Shout out DJ. I'm excited to see what him and his brother do at Oregon State.
Yeah.
And it's just something us as fans, as football, we keep tabs on all of our people and kind of see, somehow, some way they're our cousin in some capacity, right?
We're all related. Bro, on my channel, when Marcus came out, I said, I always called him my cousin. Yeah. People were like, is that really your cousin? Yeah.
I said, when they're not your cousin, when you don't get a ticket from them for the game. I knew that wasn't my cousin.
I know, because yeah, they're all my cousins, bro. Yeah. But getting on, before we get out of here and whatnot, I actually wanted to do something kind of funny. Because have you ever watched any of those like YouTube videos called like dad jokes or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to tell you some dad jokes because I actually did a video like this like 4 years ago with my Oos Lance. He stays in Long Beach right now, but he's a huge Niner fan.
Okay.
So we did a Raider Niner Battle of the Bay dad jokes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring some up and try to.
Oh no.
But but it's like kind of like a try not to laugh. So I want to see what you thought about these. I'm actually gonna use it when I go to the tailgate. So interview a lot of these fans, but I wanted to see what you think about these dad jokes real quick. So, what's the difference between a Niner fan and a baby?
What?
The baby will stop whining after a while.
Okay. You could have told me, man. I would have had 5 for y'all.
Oh, I should have told you. We probably gotta get that going.
Next episode.
Right? I only had 3, but I had a whole list. But, we gotta get one of those.
Yes.
I gotta do it with you then. One of these days.
I'll think of one on the spot. What's the difference between a Raider fan and a Lotto?
What?
You're always gonna lose. I just made that one up.
Okay, all right.
That's a good one.
I like that.
I got a panda. I just made that one up because I was that one with the C. Okay, we here.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna win the lotto.
Hey, once in a lifetime.
Oh fuck!
All right. How many 49er fans does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
None. They're happy living in Seattle shadow.
That's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
I don't just joking. But these are the ones I took from.
The hell with Seattle.
I know they're not really doing. Oh, they actually did.
Yeah, they're gonna do some things, man. Seattle,
Yeah.
I don't like to say it, but they'll do some things over there. especially in this tough NFC West that we're in.
Oh yeah, the NFC is going crazy right now with the Rams. I know they didn't really do good last year, but
shit, Rams are they're still one of the teams to beat.
Yeah.
When you got Aaron Donald on that defense, and it's
I don't know how Aaron Donald. This dude just all 99.
You seen his practice shit?
bro.
No, what?
Practices with knives.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. I
He
guess
don't
it
get
makes your
stabbed.
hands
That's how he
fat.
just has quick hands.
Yeah.
I was watching that.
I was watching that. I was like, what the?
I ain't gonna lie. I was watching like just stab him.
Come on, hard.
Got him. That was too big. Gotta be
Down
quick.
for the season.
Yeah.
He's gonna show up to training camp one day and then have long sleeves on with some blood coming out the side. He's like,
All the
I'm good.
stitches. I was good.
We say the same. He says the same thing about Patrick Mahomes. Just
Fuck Mahomes.
hit him in the knee real good one time.
Hey,
That's
Patrick
all.
Mahomes. I don't know what soul he sold to the devil because I
Bruh.
think, dude,
Yeah.
he does things in this league that is like he had to sell his soul to do it.
Bro,
Those little throws, little underhand throws
On his knees
Gets out of-
throwing and
with a
shit.
sprained ankle. I'm like, if Mahomes could play on one sprained ankle, these guys over here bitching about injuries, get your ass back in the game.
Bruh, like just when, like for me as a Raider fan, just when we thought we had our window open when Peyton Manning retired, I was like, oh, we're good. Alex Smith did pretty good with the Chiefs, and I was like, we're still competitive with them. But then when they got Patrick Mahomes, I like, whatever.
Yeah.
Damn, he came out that first year, and it's never been the same since.
And that's what it goes back to what Sean Merriman said. I asked him, what was the things that was in you guys' way from winning the Super Bowl? He said there was three things. It was Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady.
Oh,
and it's
that's
always
true.
like that with the Raiders too, because you always have now you guys have Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and then you got to go through Jared Allen too, where it's like these quarterbacks that are kind of like dominant right now.
Yeah.
Those are the people you guys got to worry about. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, if they can get hurt just before they play us, we'll be all right.
And I think that's why a lot of Raider fans are so mad that we got Jimmy G because,
Yeah.
Of course, you named the names in our division, the flashy quarterbacks
Yeah.
and whatnot, and then we got Jimmy G. But last year we had Derek Carr, and they're like, dang, if we were going to move on from Derek Carr, we might as well go and get somebody.
And I always say between Derek Carr and Jimmy G, it's not the same, but I think you have a fresh new life with Jimmy.
It is.
They didn't
Like I
get
said,
Derek
Jimmy
Carr.
G knows the playbook a little better.
Yeah.
Controls the red zone a little better, game manager, whatnot. Slight little upgrade, but for me, it's kind of the same thing.
I think I'm just happy to see a different face.
Yeah.
In that red jersey for us on practices. I think he has a different swagger about him than Derek Carr. And even Max Crosby talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
And in training camp, he said, this dude's a dog. Like, first day of training camp, Jimmy was already talking shit to the defense.
Yeah.
And went after Max.
Yeah.
And he said he was already talking shit, but you know what? I'll fuck with it. He's a dog.
Now that we have, like, when we have players on the show and I kind of see their personalities, I think a lot of those things, too, they be saying for the interview, because if they said that to Max Crosby would have go whoop Jimmy's ass. If he said, he got the dog in him. He got the dog in him.
But he was saying it. He said, he got that dog in him, but, next practice, we're going to
It's going to be interesting to see how they do that whole thing.
Again, I thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
And one night, I know this was planned for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy for football season to be around the corner now. We got the Niners here, and we're gonna try to get like guests just like you.
Yeah.
Especially big in not only your community but your fan base as well.
And I think Kyle Pecco will be dope for you guys, because I talked to Kyle, and if him re-signing with the Raiders too, you guys can have some insight. With him
definitely.
Because the Usos cool, man. That's a cool family right there. The whole Pecco family. Shout out Domata and all that.
Yeah.
Anna, but I'm saying it's just it's football season. I'm excited for this, and
The best time of the year.
I'm just trying not to lose too much. I'm betting with my heart this year, so because there's a lot of time.
I'm not betting at all this year.
But I think it's going to be a good season, because especially with the Super Bowl being at Allegiant this year, it kind of like has everyone, gives them that kind of like, I wish my Niners are going to play at Allegiant when the Super Bowl comes along, where no matter who's playing over here, Vegas is going to be cracking. And we're
You already know, man.
Everybody's going to be in town.
it's going to be in town for that, and us kind of doing what we're doing, we'll have kind of like free will of all this opportunity out there to get.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why I started this too. And man, there's a lot to be made out here, and Vegas is only growing. I know you moved here a couple of years ago. I just got here last year, and he's been here for a while, and I'm already seeing Vegas grow right now. And then especially in sports, we had the Aces win 2 years, or like last year I believe so. We had the Golden Knights win this past year, and then obviously
Now
the Raiders next year. And
then wishful thinking.
Vegas is doing their thing, and I think there's a void in the media where we come in. You guys as well, and I think as a fan and kind of having this demographic, Polynesian demographic and stuff, that this insight that I think ESPN's missing out on, and Fox Sports is all missing out, where we have the opportunity to kind of give our take on our on our players, on our teams, and I think we keep doing what we're doing, we're definitely going to be heard and seen.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, we're all just fans.
Yeah.
But we're doing it. We're doing this at a high level, and we're enjoying it. I know you're doing your thing. We're doing our thing.
This.
Yeah, I love this. I love the scenery, and as much as this team breaks my heart, man.
Yeah.
I'm always here, right? I'm still here, right?
That shows the loyalty. Yeah. That shows the loyalty in what you guys are doing, and I think what we're doing, we're having fun.
Yeah.
And we're able to kind of stay in our elements. Where we're Raider. You guys are Raider fans. I'm a Niner fan, but we're still staying in our realms and kind of say, hey, we can go report on a Niner game. We can go report on a Raider game on a practice. And kind of have somebody want to value our opinion of what we're talking about. We're just talking what we talk. We're just talking our shit. But when you have people kind of like follow us, like how they follow you guys, your opinion starts to matter to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because everyone has an opinion.
Yeah,
for
But
sure.
when your opinion starts mattering to the masses and you start getting a fan base, you kind of sit there and, okay, I've done what I've been doing ain't for nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're all doing now in the spaces that we're in with podcasting and with content. And I think we just keep doing what we're doing. It's consistency. Whoever's watching this podcast now and say, hey, how did the Usos, you can do that? It's consistency.
Yep.
The minute you guys fall off and don't do it, it's like, oh, okay, we knew that was going to be short-lived. And I think if they have that mindset that I'm not doing this as a hobby. I'm doing this because I want to make a living out of it.
Yep.
That I think a lot more kids will kind of see what we're doing and do it better than us.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're in the business for them to do it better.
Facts.
Oh, for sure. So just let them know where they can find you. If you have any events coming up,
Yeah, well,
just
it's
let
crazy.
them know.
You guys said I might even let the cat out of the bag on you guys' show. I actually, when I moved out here, I wanted to bring the first Island Vibes pool party to Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
And through Team Why Not and through the family that we have over there at Palms, we're going to have an Island Vibes pool party starting August 20th for my birthday, and that's going to be every Sunday at the Palms pool.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
we're talking about the Palms. Like,
Yeah.
this is like a dope. They have
yeah.
a dope $1 million stage that they built over there by the pool, and we're gonna start having artists come perform. But me and my crew and all my DJs that I kind of handpick is gonna play Island Vibes, and it's not just Island. Where we're just playing Island reggae all day.
Yeah.
And people have to realize Island Vibes is anything you can listen to it on the island.
Yeah.
If I'm chilling with a Mai Tai or a coconut drink,
That's
I
true.
want to hear some good R&B. I want to hear some good, hip hop, where that's kind of give me my free range to kind of bring this to Vegas. And this is one of my goals. Say, hey, because we were doing this on Twitch during the pandemic.
true.
And I had a show called Island Vibes that I was like, dude, I was telling everybody across the world that were part of my fans, hey, mark my words, we're gonna have this Island Vibes pool party, and now it's starting to come to fruition.
Nice.
So kind of so when I show that off, and when they do hopefully get the billboard up for that, that's gonna be full circle moment for me to kind of say, when I come to Vegas, I'm gonna have my name on a billboard with one of my shows up there. But I mean, we just keep doing Western Conference Podcast. You can find on YouTube. I'm starting to see what's up with this Spotify video now. And I think it's just all these different things. You kind of see what every avenue you can do. All this content that we're doing is ours. So we're content creators, and okay, who's gonna have the best? YouTube. Why not use all of them? So I say I'm looking into this Spotify video. All the audio podcasts are on Apple Podcasts. Spotify. So the more we're out there and the more we're accessible to our public, they can't say nothing like, man, I can't even find your show. You know what I mean? So all you got to do is search Western Conference Podcast on anything through podcasts or on YouTube, and at Big Body Cisco on all the social media. And, with mine, you're going to get what you get. I have a morning message in the morning. I have some funny videos, and I'll tell you what I got going on. And, it's reposting the USA stuff. It's like, that's what I feel like this demographic is not doing. It's like repost somebody that you feel is competition because they're not you. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So and I feel a lot of people are like, oh no, I don't want to, repost their podcast because I don't want their podcast to be better than mine. That's the mentality you guys got to get out of. People who do that. Where if we kind of come as a collective and say, look, we got the Oos Nation podcast, we got Western Conference. Now we're in numbers. Now people are going to start to kind of say, hey, well, let's kind of have the Oos Nation podcast on the sideline reporting. That's what we're trying to do this to get to. All the perks that are going to come are going to come. Yeah. But it's going to take us as, the brothers and us as this whole demographic. Work together. It's like, man, stop hating on each other. It's like, there's enough for everybody out there. Yeah. Everybody can eat.
No, for sure. Yeah. And you hit it right on the nail, man. Especially with us Usos, man. A lot of people outside look at Samoans as like the Usos that just show a lot of love. You know, and I know at churches it could be opposite. But at the end of the day, of course, we show love to everybody, and we thank.
That's the perfect thing because all my Usos who do security out here in Vegas, they show love to us. They come to all of our events and support our events. It's like we're a supportive people, but it's like nobody get it twisted. We come from being Samoan and Polynesian, Tongan and all that. Where don't tickle the bear too much because the bear still can growl when he needs to.
No, for sure. Again, Raider Nation, you guys can find us here, Oos Nation Podcast. We thank Cisco for coming on. Obviously, you can find me at Samoan Raider on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and then my Oos.
Mr. Fitz. 714 on everything. Check me out.
Especially if you want to get pissed off. Especially if it's the Bronco fans, Dallas Cowboys, Niner fans. Go to his page, especially during the football season. My boy's content is unmatched.
Appreciate it.
For sure. With that being said, until next time, we are out.
Yes, sir.